Hey, what's up you guys? It's Jayme and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be another Run Disney video for you guys. I can't believe Disney Princess Half Marathon weekend starts in like a week and a half. That's absolutely crazy to me. The half marathon's 2 weeks from today that I'm filming this. I'm getting so excited, and I know a lot of you are getting excited on social media, and I'm just ready for this all to happen, and we'll see how it goes. But today I just wanted to do a Q&A for you all because I get so many questions like on Instagram and everything about Run Disney races. I'm by no means like an expert. This is like my 4th year doing it. But I just can only share with you like what I know and what I've learned from my personal experiences. So I just wanted to share that all with you today because, again, a lot of people ask questions, so I'm going to answer as many questions as I can, as well as I can. And yeah, so I'm just going to get into it, and I have them on my phone, so sorry if I'm like looking down reading questions. And some of these questions I'm actually going to need help from my boyfriend Grant. So I'm gonna bring him in a few minutes because questions that people ask are about like spectators and like how that all works, and I've never been a spectator at a race. I've only ever like been in the races, so he knows a lot more about that than I do. So I'm gonna get him to answer those questions because like I have no clue what goes on. Let's just get into the first question. So I'm just gonna go in like in order of how I got them, and then just see how long it takes me to answer some, and yeah. So these are no particular order. So my first question was, which this is a good one to start out with, is how did you get started running? And this is a more general question, not in particular about Princess Half Weekend, but I started running when I was like a junior in high school, I would say. I am not by any means like built like a runner. Like I carry my weight in my lower half. I'm very tall, but I'm not like, I have long limbs, but I'm not like a toothpick, if that makes sense. I'm not naturally a small, skinny person. So I started running whenever like my 10th, going into my 11th grade, my junior year of high school. I was in a summer gym program. If you like know what that is, it's like taking gym class in the summer so you don't have to do during the school year. And that year they were testing a pilot program of like instead of doing gym class like you would during the summer, which was miserable and like literally like 4 hours long, like for 3 weeks straight, and it sucked. You could go into the gym, like the workout gym, and do different activities. And so we were like required to do cardio, like 30 minutes of cardio, which sucked. But so that's kind of how I got started running, because you had to do like so many days on the stair steppers, so many days on the elliptical, so many days on the treadmill, and you had to go so fast to get a certain grade, which sounds terrible, and it was, but that's how I started running because I lost a lot of weight from it and I liked how I felt. So yeah, just keeping that short and sweet to that because I don't want to spend 20 minutes on one question because y'all know I talk. So this is a good question, and a question I get a lot. Do you actually have to run, or can you walk and enjoy? So Run Disney, every race is different, but I'm talking about Run Disney races in particular. You have to stick with a 16-minute per mile pace. So, and technically that 16-minute per mile pace only really applies to you if you're in like the last set off of the last corral, because then that's when they have like the balloon ladies, they call them, walking, and they go at a 16-minute per mile pace, and it's literally these little women with balloons tied to them, like Disney balloons tied to them, and if they catch you, then they will take you on like a bus or a golf cart and take you to the end, just because they have to open the roads back up. They have to, you know, get the parks open and stuff like that by certain times, so they do have to restrict the time a little bit. But that being said, 16-minute per mile is like not difficult at all, in my opinion. I mean, some people might have a problem with that, but you can walk a 16-minute mile, honestly. Like just go on a treadmill and test out your mile, and like, because I like well, I tried to run the whole thing, but like you can take walking breaks. I'm gonna loop this into a question I got about like what running like programs I recommend for people. Just go on Pinterest and there's like a bunch, but if you're training for a 10K or a half or a full, I recommend like Jeff Galloway's programs. They have free ones on Run Disney's website, so just go onto their website, I'll link it down below, and they have a bunch of programs there that he recommends, and his method is the run walk run method. And Jeff Galloway, if you don't know who he is, he's like an Olympic athlete, an Olympic runner. So his method is run walk run, which is really nice because it gives you walking breaks, and it helps you build up like resistance and you're breathing well and everything like that. And that's how I trained for my first race, and so that's what I recommend, and it just helps you get in a good pace, if that makes sense. If you have annual pass, does that affect anything? Technically, if you're an annual pass holder or DVC member, you can sign up for the races early. I've struggled with that in the past so much that's not even funny that I haven't even done it before, because it'll always be like, oh, click here to sign up early, and I will, and then it like says like this page doesn't exist, and I swear to God it's happened like every year for the past 4 years. So I've never gotten to do that. If anybody knows how to do that, let me know in the comments. But so it doesn't really change anything. At the expo though, I'm 99% sure you get your annual pass discount on the merchandise. I'm like 99% sure. Sorry if that's false, but I'm pretty sure that's true. In the past that I've gotten annual pass discount on merchandise. Which is really, really nice. Will the email sign up notify you when you're able to purchase tickets? Yes, so I'll link down below. It'll give you the sign up date. My cat's in here again. Can you open the door and let Gracie out? Go. So you can sign up for like RunDisney's email list, and they will notify you whenever registration's close to opening for certain races. But the Wine and Dine I've gotten a lot of questions on, which is in November, that opens March 19th. And that one's this year. Marathon weekend opens April 16th. Princess weekend for next year opens June 4th. And Star Wars half marathon weekend for next year opens July 16th. And you can find all that info on their website, and then also on their Instagram page, they have like this little picture. And if you just swipe, it tells you what races and when you can sign up for them. So I just had that saved like on my Instagram, so I can refer to that as I need to. So I hope that answered your question. So yes, the email sign up will notify you when you're able to purchase tickets. And depending on the race, if you're doing the 5Ks for any of the races, those normally sell out the fastest. Princess half, you have to be on there the second it goes on sale, or else I swear you're not gonna get it. It's just a fact, and it's scary, and yeah, but it sells out super quickly. I think there's still halves available for this for Princess weekend this year, but like 5K goes really quickly, challenge goes really quickly. It's very scary, because like one year, I think it was like last year, 2 years ago, I was literally crying. I was at college at the time, and I was crying in the hallway because it said that they might have sold out, and so I was like in a waiting list, and I was screaming and crying on the phone with Grant. It was miserable. So I also got some questions about how to dress. So somebody asked how to dress for the 5K, and I think it's up to your personal preference. I personally prefer either sparkle skirts, like I mentioned in my last video, which I'll put in the card here. I did a lot of my running gear and stuff like that, if you're interested in that. Or like leggings. Just make sure you watch the weather, and that'll help you determine a lot, you know, what you need to dress, like if you need to bring a jacket, if like shorts versus leggings or pants or anything like that, weather-wise. And then also make sure you wear thick socks, or like socks that are made like to not get blisters, because even if you're doing like a 5K, like if something's rubbing, it won't be good. And just the thicker the socks you have, the better. So even if you do get a blister, it won't come on as quickly and it won't hurt as bad, like on impact. I'm not staying on property. Any advice on driving myself to the race? So I kind of gave advice in my latest blog post about RunDisney, which is like a what to expect sort of video, or what to expect sort of blog post. So I'll post that down below as well, but I'll still cover this question. And just for future reference, or just for reference so everybody knows, I personally recommend staying on property. I literally live like right behind Cinderella's castle, not even exaggerating. You can see the fireworks and can see the castle from my window. But I highly recommend staying on property. I'm staying on property. And like the thing is, if you're traveling for the race anyway, like it's just not worth spending the money to get an off-property one when you can just be on property, because then you'll get free busing to and from the events and the races. So that's really nice, and then you're guaranteed to be on time. But for advice for driving yourself to the race, be early. So the races start at like 5:30, I think technically. The first buses leave from the hotels at 3 a.m. and I'm always on that first bus. So it depends on how far away you're staying from the hotel or from Disney property, but just give yourself time. Like I would try to be at the parking lot no later than 3:30 or 4, because the later you wait, the more traffic there will be, the harder it will be to get through security, the harder it will be to just like move because there wouldn't be more people. So the earlier the better. So yeah, because I know one year we sat there and we were on a bus, we were on a Disney bus, so it's not even like we were driving ourselves, but we were in traffic for almost an hour because there were so many people. But other years it hasn't been like that. So you never really know until the day comes what to expect and what's gonna happen. So you just have to be prepared for anything that you can. So somebody asked, where are the starting and ending points for each of the races? So for Princess Weekend, all of the races, it depends on like the weekend of the race, but we're talking about Princess Weekend here. So all of them start and end in Epcot's parking lot. Again, depending on the race weekend it is, some start in Magic Kingdom, some start in Animal Kingdom, it all just depends. They all start and end in Epcot parking lot like normal. So the 5K, the 10K, and the half. So that's where you'll park, and then that's where you'll be picked up as well. If you go onto RunDisney's website and go into the Disney Princess Half Marathon weekend, you can go into a tab that says Runners Info, and in there you can click the official event guide on there. And from there you can click into each race. So I can click the course map for each race. So it's kind of weird because they start and finish in different places in the parking lot. But so that's like the 5K map, and I'll just link this down below so you guys can find it easily and like view it on your computer. And it also is really helpful because if you see up here, I'm on the mobile version, but it has like transportation tab, a times tab, like everything that you need to know, reminders, expo, spectator information. So that will be helpful for you all as well. The only one that would be different is the kids races. Those are at the Wide World of Sports Complex, which is where the expo is. How early do you need to get there? I'm doing the 5K and the 10K. So I kind of covered that in the other question about driving yourself. Get there as early as you possibly can. The girl who asked this question, I actually know her, and we live in the same complex. So I would recommend leaving around 5 or 3 o'clock in the morning from where you are to be able to get there in enough time. Again, like the earlier you get there the better. It sucks, guys, like especially waking up multiple days in a row so early, but it's so worth it. It's so much less stressful if you can get there, take time to stretch, take time to, you know, go to the bathroom, get some food in you, and not be like running around like a crazy person, because you're gonna be doing that anyway. You start running, and how long before you did your first half? I started more seriously running my junior year of high school. And then I did my first, like towards the end of my junior year of high school, and then my first half was my senior year of high school, if that makes sense. Music or no music when training, and what kind if so? I'm like terrible at like listening to music while running. I normally don't wear earbuds while running. Like I don't listen to music, nothing. I used to, well, back when I lived in Pennsylvania, I like strictly ran on treadmills because like I was training in the winter, and like that just can't happen in Pennsylvania. And like especially where my house was, I didn't live in like a development or anywhere where I had like places to be running. Like we lived in the woods. I can't be running in the woods in the wintertime. So I would go to Planet Fitness, and they have like TVs, so I would normally bring headphones and just like watch TV. And even now I'll like take my phone and watch like YouTube videos or something, because music just like isn't as like, doesn't distract me as well as like a video does or like TV does, because I'm like, okay, I can watch this episode and then that'd be me running for 30 minutes. So yeah, that's my answer to that. So now I think I'm just gonna get into the ones with Grant, because this is kind of getting long already, and I need to stop babbling. So I'm gonna pause this real quick and then go get Grant. Okay guys, you can scoot this way.
Good.
Here's Grant. You haven't seen him on here in a while because he doesn't like being on the camera. People are wondering about what time spectators have to get to the parks, things like that. So if you could elaborate on that because I know it's different for each race.
Okay.
So break it up between the 5K, the 10K, and the half. I start with the fact that we are up at the same time in the morning. It's not like we're coming separately.
Right.
So my parents and him are always with me. Like, we all wake up at the same time at, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're all getting on the bus at the same time.
It's just easier that way.
Yeah.
And then we all hang out so you hang out with your runner until you have to go, they have to go to the start line
and they'll announce that, so you're not like confused. Like, they'll be like, "Okay, runners, go to the start line."
So with the 5K and the 10K, it's a lot easier because the start line is basically right there. So, and with the 5K and the 10K, you can only see the start line and the finish line. I don't know if they're gonna change anything this year, but if you're staying at Boardwalk, I know that you can basically go outside your room or outside the resort.
Yeah, because that's what they did, or my parents did.
Yeah. I don't know about the 5K, but the 10K. So that's a good viewpoint too. But what I've always found the best way, or the best thing to do, is to go to the start line, watch your runner go past, and then
as fast as you can.
as fast as you can. They'll be announcing each corral, but there's always multiple waves of the corrals, so you have to really watch. And it's nice, you can sign up online. Again, I'll link this below too. Like, I can put his phone number in, or like my parents' phone numbers or emails or whatever, so they know where I am. And a lot of people, what'd you say a lot of people were doing? Yeah, but you'll get a text as soon as you're across the start line, so then you can look for your runner, and then you'll get a text for the 10K. I think you'll get one around the 5K mark, and then all the races you'll get at the finish line. So the half, there's multiple markers.
I think there's like a 5K, 10K, 15K, and then finish.
Yeah, I think so.
But you said people like will turn on their Find My iPhone.
Find My iPhone feature, which we need to try this year, but we haven't tried it. But I found that out when
because that's like real time.
Yeah, so then you can actually.
You probably do the same thing with Snapchat too.
Probably. So just use your phone and technology to your advantage there. But what I've always done is watch Jayme cross and try to wave to her if she could see me, if I could see her. And then you basically make a dash to the finish line. They always have signs up. With the 5K and the 10K, it's not that stressful because as long as you're not leisurely walking over, you'll get there in time, and then you basically try to find a good viewpoint, and then you have a few minutes to do that, and then you just sit and wait, and then it's really easy to see your runner across the finish line because it's pretty wide open. And by that time, everybody's spread out instead of all packed together. So that's the 5K and the 10K. The half is a little bit differently, and they have a few different viewpoints. And normally people watch at the start line, but you can't really go directly to the start line, which they made it a little bit more difficult even last year. Yeah,
you guys were like standing like on the road somehow. So I like don't even know how you got there. They said like,
here's a viewpoint to go and watch. And what you do is you basically walk, and they have a path.
And like, I feel like if you just ask like cast member or like volunteers, they'll direct you
but
something.
It's really strange. So if you wanted to watch the start, it's gonna be a little weird, and you're not really gonna see your runner that well because they're not
dark too.
Yeah, it's really dark, and they're not gonna be right next to you. Like the start line, you're here, and the runners are right here. For the half, there's a whole highway, like multiple lanes, and then that's really, plus it's dark because it's really early in the morning and they don't have that many lights up. So whether or not that's going to be the same every year, but that's up to you if you determine that it's worth it, or if you wanted to just head to the next stop. Now a lot of people just go straight to the finish line. By the time that I get to the finish line, it's packed already, but you could still find a pretty decent spot.
Because people are always coming and going too, like their runners are leaving.
But what I normally do is I'll go to the start line, which is like you'll walk through the woods, and then you basically have this half-mile stretch that you can stand anywhere you want. And again, that's up to you if you want to do that, but I still like to. And then from there, I make, and then one other point too is you can't hear the corrals. So that's you really can't hear anything going on. You just see runners passing you. So you kind of see clumps and then you
Can
assume...
you see the fireworks? Or do you not remember?
I don't remember.
Because they like shoot off like little fireworks. And another thing to note is like, because he kind of explained this, but like for the half marathon, the start line for the half marathon's a good 15-20 minute walk from where like the meeting, like the finish line and the meeting place are.
Which is really why you can't go and sit at the start line.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure that you're getting those text updates so you know when the runner crossed, and then just keep an eye out and fingers crossed.
Yeah.
But as soon as last year, as soon as I saw Jayme pass, yeah, I ran over out of that area, and then I started walking, and they have the Epcot monorail running. So you could just hop right on the monorail. It takes you to the Ticket and Transportation Center.
I wondered, because people are always in the TTC parking lot. Because you run, if you're familiar with Transportation Ticket Center, you know that little tunnel that you go under in the like tram? You go under, you go through that tunnel and then you go off to the right instead of like going to the left where you normally go through like bag check or like whatever they call it, security. And like there's always people standing along there, and I never knew how they got there. So
Yeah.
like,
it's actually
oh well, that makes sense because Epcot Mono has to go there first.
Yeah, but what's actually pretty neat is as you're riding the monorail from Epcot, you can see the runners underneath you.
Yeah, because
So
you
it's
go
really
down that
cool.
main drag where the Magic Kingdom sign is. Like that's where you're running.
But it's busy, but not really that busy for what you'd expect. But it's pretty easy. You just hop right on. You go to the TTC. You hop onto the Magic Kingdom monorail from there, which is just you walk straight across, and then they drop you off at Magic Kingdom. They normally have security going.
You don't need tickets though to get into Magic Kingdom.
No, you don't need a ticket. So you can just walk right in, and they're funneling everybody in very efficiently. So it's really like once you're on the monorail, it's super easy to get into Magic Kingdom. So what I would recommend, because the finish line is over in Epcot as well, you have so much time on the half that by the time that you even get to Magic Kingdom, you're still waiting for your runner. And then by the time you get back to Epcot for the finish line, you're still waiting another half hour, 45 minutes. So it's worth it to go, especially because the runners, where I like to try to find a spot, they have all of Main Street open, and they have, I think, Frontierland area.
Yeah, up until like the bridge there near Frontierland.
Right, but they have a lot of area open that you can watch, but I like to try to get a little spot right by the castle, and it's normally pretty busy, but so many people are coming and going.
And if you have cheer squad tickets, which you guys did it one year, but it like wasn't really worth it, you get special seating at the end. And
the end, I think, is worth it
castle.
More than at the castle.
Yeah, but
they have a little designated area at the castle. It just makes it easier.
There's two tiers for the cheer squad: the $65 one and the $120 one. Don't get the $120 one because like you only get like bagels included, other than like so like it's just not worth it.
Last year I didn't do it. This year we're not doing it. But what I try to do is, especially because people are coming and going, you can just hop in right by the castle, and then as people disappear, you just make your way up to the front. And really, you're only a couple people deep anyway, just because so many people...
This isn't like fireworks at the Magic Kingdom.
No.
It's not like it's like that crowded.
And really, Main Street is more crowded.
Yeah, I agree.
And so many people like to watch everybody run down Main Street, but I think it's cooler because the runners wrap around and then they come out the castle, so you can see them running down the ramp and running into Frontierland.
Yeah, because you go down, like you come down Main Street facing the castle, and then you wrap through Tomorrowland and Fantasyland, then you come through the castle, like back out. So
Right, so you're coming from like the carousel out towards Main Street, and then you're running towards Frontierland. And I always try to get pictures, and I think that's just like such a cool picture.
Yeah,
and
there's photographers there too.
PhotoPass photographers that if you wanted to get your picture in front of the castle.
They also have ones like while you're running, so like I was just trying to like cut in front and like get a picture.
But you have to be quick as you're going and trying to like get your spot, but it's not impossible at all. It's really not that stressful. Like our first year doing it, Jayme's parents and I we had plenty of time and we had no idea where we were going, basically.
And my parents had no clue what they were doing.
But it really wasn't that bad at all. So you just have to be pretty quick about it. Yeah, you have to be efficient, but it's so much more fun to go into Magic Kingdom and watch. And then that way you're doing something too the entire couple hours that your runner is running. So as soon as they pass in Magic Kingdom, wherever you decide to camp out, I don't think it's worth it trying to watch in Main Street and then make your way to the castle because you're not going to get there.
Yeah.
There's people that do that and then they get frustrated, especially because I always just camp out at the castle and I'm there for like a half an hour. It always feels really long, but it might be shorter than a half an hour. It just feels like you're waiting because you don't really know when they're coming or not. But I'll always see people coming up and be like, oh, I just missed them. Like I saw them and I like barely saw them at like the front of the like Magic Kingdom, but then I like ran up here and I missed them, and then they're all like disappointed all the time. So find
it's like
one
what's
spot.
worth it for you? It's like, would you rather see your runner in front of Magic or in front of Cinderella's castle?
Well, it's
or
either
Main
you find one spot and then you get the best spot that you can. So whether that is Main Street for you, or if that's near the castle, you want to find a spot and then try to get as close to the road as you can. Like make your decision and you camp out there. As soon as you see your runner, dash back to the monorails, and then you can take the monorail back to Epcot. And then the finish line has a pretty good stretch of bleachers. They just have a ton. So just try to find your way. A lot of people won't even navigate into the bleachers and just stand at the edge. But that's pretty packed normally, and unless you're tall, you really won't be able to see really well. So with the bleachers, it always looks packed when you look up there. And there's dedicated cheer squad bleachers, so if you do cheer squad, then make sure you go to your bleachers.
Get your money's worth.
But there's also, the bleachers always look packed for non-cheer squad. But if you go and you walk up there, so many people are always going in and out that if you stand there for like 5-10 minutes, you're bound to find at least one seat somewhere. There's plenty of room, and then even if you're sitting there, whole families will like go and walk away. And so if you have a big group, it's basically find whatever is available, and then by the time that your runner is getting through, you'll all have somewhere sitting together, because you have 45 minutes to basically just
piece yourself together.
But it wasn't too bad at all. And then when you see your runner coming, and you'll be able to see in the distance, stand up, try to wave, shout, take a picture, whatever, and then you can just go and meet up with your runner afterwards, and then you'll get there by the time that they go through and get all their snacks and cool down and ice pack and everything. So
okay, I'm gonna finish this off real quick because my battery's dying. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Leave a comment down below if you're running Disney Princess Half Marathon this weekend. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!